If you're up to watching this video, you're going to be looking at writing a basic Montuno pattern for your existing 8-bar Cuban melody. This is a pretty simple task. All you're going to do is add the Montuno pulse down here, or the Montuno pattern. It's a 2-bar phrase. We're going to add that as a separate section to the composition that you've already done in the previous section of this presentation that looked at pitch. So now we're going to add that to our Cuban composition. So here is my Cuban composition that I originally started with. You can see it's complete with its melody and the bass line here in the left hand. Eventually what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste these ideas into a separate arrangement where you start to chart out your piece for xylophone. But having said that, what we need to do now is we need to add in this section as our B section for our composition. So down here, this is the last bar that I used. So what I need to do is I need to add a bar after that. So I'm going to click on measure after. And what it'll do is it'll start to add the measures after, or the bars afterwards. I want to create a 4-bar section. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. Originally, this bar here was where I had the double bar line. So I'm going to click on that double bar line. I'm going to go to my end bar up here, which I think is in the measures section. If you haven't got the measures section open, it's over here. You just click on measure and it'll add it. But having said that, let's go to the final bar line and add it to that section. What I want to do now is I want to start to copy in this Montuno pattern as a B section in my melody. So what we've got is we've got rhythms that are crotchets, quavers, quaver rests, and really it's just crotchets, quavers, and quaver rests. So let's add that into the right-hand part here of our melody. So the first note is in the middle space of the treble clef. There it is there, or the third space of the treble clef, which we all know by this stage is C. So I'm going to add it here. There's my C. Now the next thing we need to be able to do when we go to the pattern, it's 2 quavers, so E and G as quavers. So I'm going to choose quaver and type in E and G. Oops, don't want that. If it does that to you, make sure you go back to the first note and change it as a crotchet. Click on that one there, change it to an E, put your G there. But we want this G here to be down the octave. If you have a look here, it should go a high E down to G. So the G is highlighted. If you've highlighted it, use Command and the down arrow, and it takes it down the octave. Next, what we need to do is this little tricky section of offbeat quavers. So it's a quaver rest followed by a single quaver, then a quaver rest, single quaver. So we need to be able to click on the rest that we need to start changing and click the quaver rest. Now I know the next note of the pattern is A. Here's my next rest. I'm going to click on quaver again, and then I'm going to go across to the second quaver and hit C. And then I think the rest of the pattern, when we look at it, is it uses all offbeat quavers. E, G, A, and C, and they're all on the offbeat. So let's put that in. So let's go highlight the rest, which I used an arrow key for, and then I hit quaver, A, quaver rest, actually sorry, G, A, actually I think I got this wrong actually, that's up to E. I can use the arrow keys if I've made a wrong note. I can just adjust the notes up to an A, or sorry, an E. This is going to be a G. This is going to be A, I think. And then quaver, and then C. And that should be the pattern. So if I go here to Cuba, there's the pattern there. And it looks exactly the same as the pattern I've written. What you need to do now is highlight the first note of the pattern, because obviously we're 2 bars short. So what I'm using now is I'm holding down, I've clicked on this note here, highlighted it, and then I've held down the shift key, and I've just used the right arrow to highlight everything. Then Command C, then click in the next 2 bars and Command V and paste it. There's your Montuno pattern. What we need to do now is we need to add on the ends of that, because this is a repetitive pattern, don't forget. We're in blocks of 4. So I'm going to click on this bar here, just that note, and I'm going to use the repeat sign at the top here. I'm going to click on that bar. I'm going to turn that into an end repeat. Last thing you need to do is you need to be able to put in the tumbao bass pattern down here in the left hand. My tumbao pattern I can use from here. All of this Montuno pattern here is based on the 1 chord in the key of C. The tonic chord in the key of C is number 1, and the 1 chord in the key of C is C. So here's my bass pattern in C. This is all 1 chord. I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it down the bottom here. I'm going to paste it. Same with over here as well. Paste it. And there's my Montuno pattern. What you can do after you've done all of that is you can start to add this to GarageBand. I might address that in a separate video. If you've got any questions, just put your hand up and let me know. Otherwise, get cracking and finish off writing this Montuno pattern into your existing 8-bar composition.